So we're locked in right now, ladies and gentlemen, with the Minnesota fraud scandal that has been gaining more national attention after independent journalist Nick Shirley went viral for his footage showing him visiting multiple daycare centers and health centers that took millions in taxpayer money. Yet, when you look at the operations on the ground, serious questions started popping up about their legitimacy and whether real services were being rendered. And so the Trump administration has stepped in right now, and they are saying, as you see on the screen, this is breaking news. They are freezing all child care funds to Minnesota. Wow, ladies and gentlemen. Wow, this is now becoming a major situation. The Trump administration is freezing child care funds to the entire state. Now, what has been happening right now has been focused and targeted on the city of Minneapolis, but this says that it's freezing funds for the entire state of Minnesota. So now Tim Walz is facing even more scrutiny, ladies and gentlemen, because all of this has been happening under his watch. And when I say all of this, we're talking about the countless fraud that has happened with the Feeding Our Future program, with the autism fraud, with the housing fraud, all this fraud. And unfortunately, as far as optics go for a particular community, a lot of it has centered around the Somali community. And so now this isn't something that was just recently started happening. It has been occurring as far as the fraud for a very long time, ladies and gentlemen. Listen to this.
Fraud at daycare centers in the Twin Cities has been the subject of scrutiny for more than a decade. This newly resurfaced video from a 2015 case in Hennepin County shows parents walking their kids into a daycare and then walking out with their children minutes later, while the business was charging the government and allegedly giving parents envelopes filled with cash as a purported payback. While Governor Tim Walz says he's now taking steps to address the fraud, state Republican lawmakers say it's too little too late.
He has had 7 years, and fraud under his administration has exploded. It is time for fraud in the state of Minnesota to end now.
Just this past hour, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services announced it has frozen all child care payments to the state of Minnesota in light of the massive fraud allegations at federally funded child care centers. Brett?
Wow. And so this is something that has been a major issue in the state of Minnesota for a while now. When I say a while, you just heard it, a decade, that they've been dealing with this level of fraud, whether it was the daycare or the Feeding Our Future, whatever. Seems to be that fraud is allowed to pretty much run wild in the state of Minnesota. And so now the Trump administration, they're stepping in, as it says right here. The Department of Health and Human Services has halted all child care payments to Minnesota amid the massive fraud being exposed in the Democrat-run state. Take a listen.
Hello, I'm HHS Deputy Secretary Jim O'Neill. I'm here with Assistant Secretary Alex Adams. Alex oversees the Administration for Children and Families. Intrepid journalists have made shocking and credible allegations of extensive fraud in Minnesota's child care programs. We believe the state of Minnesota has allowed scammers and fake daycares to siphon millions of taxpayer dollars over the past decade.
My office, ACF, provides Minnesota $185 million in child care funds each year. That money should be helping 19,000 American children, including toddlers and infants. Any dollar stolen by fraudsters is stolen from those children. Yesterday, I spoke directly with the director of the Minnesota Child Care Services Office. She could not tell me with confidence whether those allegations of fraud are isolated or whether there's fraud stretching statewide.
Today, we have taken 3 direct actions against the blatant fraud that seems to be rampant in Minnesota. First, I have activated our Defend the Spend system for all ACF child care payments across America. Starting today, we require a justification, receipt, or photo evidence before we make a payment. Second, I have just signed and sent a demand letter to Governor Walz. I required a full 360 review of these centers. This includes attendance records, licenses, complaints, investigations, and inspections.
And third, we've launched a dedicated fraud reporting hotline and email address at childcare.gov. Whether you're a parent, a provider, a member of the public, we want to hear from you. Let me be crystal clear. ACF expects every state to uphold the highest standards of oversight, monitoring, and accountability for federal dollars. Minnesota is no exception.
We're committed to holding bad actors accountable. Regardless of rank or office, anyone who's involved in perpetrating this fraud against the American people should expect to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law.
So there you have that, ladies and gentlemen. And so Democrats have been doing their best to really try and sweep this story under the rug. The mainstream liberal media really wasn't covering it too much up until this point. They were trying to stay as far as away from the storyline of a migrant community committing massive amounts of fraud. That's not really good for their agenda. They just wanted to keep on talking about Trump and anything negative that they can bring up about him. But because of one independent journalist, and at this point, I mean, everybody knows exactly who I'm talking about, Nick Shirley, and the work he did as far as going out into these different businesses, kind of forced the hand of the mainstream media. And now, as we're seeing the federal government to really hone in on this entire situation going on in the state of Minnesota. But it hasn't come without blowback on him, as now in Minnesota, he's being forced out of several Somali-owned businesses, being chased out, and have several men who are following him. Take a listen.
Get out of here, man. Out! Move. Get the out of here. Resist it. You cannot come in here. Resist it. We don't care. We don't know where it is. Get out. That's not your job. You don't know that. Get out. Move. He's recording. Get out of here. Fucking idiot. Hey, still recording.
Wow, so there you have that, ladies and gentlemen. So this is something they don't want attention being brought to, and now that it has, there are a lot of angry, upset people in Minnesota, as in the Somali community, who they do not like what Nick Shirley is doing, and are even now, let's get into this, listen to this. There are claims, Nick Shirley is saying that there are bounties. He's learned that there are bounties on his head in Minnesota following his viral expose of Somali fraud. Go ahead and take a listen to this.
They're so mad. The Somalians are so mad because can you imagine for years you're at the dinner table talking with your family about how everything's good. Oh, we don't need to worry because the government and whatnot. I mean, 81% of these people are on welfare, but on top of that, they're collecting millions of dollars for these companies. Tax exempt, by the way, especially the daycares. So can you imagine how mad they are now? Like, that's why they're right now, there's like people are so upset. Like there's like bounties on me here in Minnesota because people are so upset as far as the fraud that's being exposed because they know their time's up and they know everyone's just sick and tired of this happening inside their own state and across America.
What have some of those threats been?
Yeah, there was apparently like a bolo that they used. That's the word that some people told me was on me, and I can't reveal too much just because I don't want to reveal. But like, yeah, lots of messages, death threats, obviously on social media, and then it's just not the most safe thing for me to be moving around freely right now.
I think that's fair. I mean,
they had a good thing going. Nobody was paying attention. They may have hit a couple little snags in the road with a couple people here and there. Definitely not by the state. They were getting some pressure now with federal charges coming down from pandemic fraud scandals. But for one scam that goes down, there's still how many more out there that didn't go discovered. And so when some 23-year-old kid with a YouTube channel, is probably what they look at him as, some kid with a YouTube channel, exposes them for what looks like a massive amount of fraud. We'll find out more as this story unfolds. It's going to have a lot of people angry. It's going to have a lot of people who were depending on that money that they were using. It's going to have a lot of them upset that now things will never be the same again. And understand this, when it comes to Somalia, the country, remittances make up a vast majority of the money that comes into Somalia. It makes up a vast majority of I believe it's 40%. 40% of the population depends on remittances. And so that's a large percentage of the population that depends on people outside of Somalia sending money back to Somalia in order to have the country even be functional, to whatever level of extent. And to have that be thwarted and ruined, not because law enforcement captured and figured out the plan, but because an independent journalist shined a light on it, yeah, it's going to have a lot of people frustrated and angry and wanting to seek revenge. And here, let's get into this clip here, because this is the one that really, really shows how dangerous this is getting, because how upset he has many people in that community. And so take a listen to this. Minnesota man absolutely loses his mind during Nick Shirley investigation into fraud, accusing him of wanting the Somali community in concentration camps. So let's take a listen.
How you doing, man?
I just want to ask you.
Yes, sir.
Why are you sensationalizing the propaganda?
What are we sensationalizing?
To attack our community. What's your final objective?
We're not attacking your community by any means.
Are you making good money from this?
We're looking for fraud.
No, I'm
For
not.
instance, can you answer our question? Where's Safari Transportation Company 607?
1 second.
It's not there.
How much money are
Why don't
you?
answer the
How much
question?
money
Where's
are you
617
making?
Dreamline Security.
How much money are you
I
making
make
off
money
of
off
this?
of YouTube. That's how I make my money.
Exactly. So you're making money off of sensationalizing
That my job
and attacking
is-
the Somali community.
I'm not attacking you guys. We're asking.
I'll tell you the
Fraud
reason why
fraud,
this is
sir.
happening. All right. Let me
David,
tell you the reason why you're
fraud is
attacking
fraud,
this.
correct?
Yes.
This has nothing to do with race. This is fraud.
This
and
is
fraud.
absolutely has to do with us being Muslim.
No, it does not.
All right, and us being from Africa. This is a constitutional argument. If you don't want us here, change the freedom of religion. Say, listen, we don't want Muslims in this country anymore.
We're not saying
No,
that.
no, no, no.
We're not
Because
saying that.
when I go
Sir,
onto
we're
your
talking
comments,
about fraud. You're
when I go onto your comments,
My comments
what I
aren't
see
me.
is people that say we do not want Muslims here, kick every single Muslim in Minnesota out of Minnesota.
That's a comment.
You are listen.
That's not what I'm saying.
You're preparing for the Somali community to maybe be taken to concentration camps, just like the Japanese community. All right, you're sensationalizing.
No, we're not.
All right,
Sir,
something that
answer
can
the
listen.
question. Where-
That's something
where
that can
is the transportation
something that
vehicle
can
company?
jeopardize
Answer the
the
question.
safety and the protection of
This
the
is
Somali
fraud.
community.
We're talking
If
about
anything
fraud, sir.
happens to the
We're
Somali
talking about
community, listen,
fraud.
I'm not doing anything. I'm not physically touching
You're
you.
getting very close.
I'm not physically
You're
touching
very
you.
close.
No, I'm not physically touching you.
This is fraud.
What
We're
you're
talking about
doing,
fraud.
what you're
You're
doing, what you're
defending
doing.
fraud.
When
You're
I go
defending
into your
fraud.
comments,
You're defending fraud.
people who hate Muslims, who
People
want us
can-
out of here
people can say
for
what they
being
want. I'm not
Muslim,
censoring
are
anybody.
using your material. Islamophobes use your material. People who hate Islam use your material. Say to us, we don't want you here.
Okay.
Change the Constitution.
Okay, we
But
got
guess
you.
what? Let me tell you something. Guess what?
Say it. We're asking about
You
fraud.
know, you are what
We're
you
asking
do.
about fraud.
You hate Muslims.
I'm not saying I hate
You
Muslims.
hate
We're
you know
talking
you
about
hate
fraud.
Muslims.
We're talking
Why are
about
you
fraud.
attacking us? Are
This
we
is
the only
fraud.
community that suffers because of fraud?
We're talking about
Are we
fraud.
the only community that does fraud? Are we the only community that does this?
This is about fraud.
All right, but there's what 300 Somali providers in
fraud.
all of Minnesota.
There's actually.
I'm not.
800.
Don't touch
can't
me.
keep talking.
Is there like,
Don't go close.
do you speak English? Right? Your security doesn't even speak English. Listen, let me tell you
So
something.
See, this isn't a race
Th-
issue,
listen,
sir.
listen. Let me
This
say
is about
something.
fraud.
We have what 1,000 providers.
Yeah, you guys have a.
Even it's 2,000 providers.
Okay,
You
sir.
want to sacrifice the safety of
Sir.
80,000 people
We're not
because of 2,000 providers? Are you mad?
Señor.
Are you stupid?
I'm not stupid. You're stupid.
You're
Where's the transportation
sensationalizing.
vehicle?
What about if a mass shooting happens in Minnesota? It will be because of you. It will be because of you.
Take him away.
If any Somali gets hurt in Minnesota, it's because of Nick Shirley. If any Somali, if one single Somali gets hurt,
This is about fraud.
it's because of you. Sensationalize this. You son of a bitch. Sensationalize this.
Wow, you're
Get the
very-
out of our neighborhood.
Very nice.
Get the out of our
Sir,
neighborhood.
Can you tell me where the
Get the
transportation?
out of our neighborhood. We don't want you here.
Oh, your neighborhood.
Get the out of here. Get the out of here.
Calm down, sir.
You want to sensationalize? You want clicks? You got clicks.
Anything yourself,
You
sir.
wanted clicks?
You're saying
You got clicks. You wanted clicks? You wanted the YouTube?
where the transportation.
You wanted YouTube clicks? You got YouTube clicks. Now get the out of our community.
Tell me where the
Get
transportation.
the out of our community.
Tell me where the.
You stupid racist motherfucker. Say I don't want
This is
Muslims
about
here.
fraud.
Say I don't want Muslims here. Say it. Say I want to change the Constitution
No, I don't
and I
want
want
to
to
change
change
the
freedom of
Constitution.
religion and I don't want Muslim Somalis in Minnesota. Kick them out. I was born in this country. You have to take the passport away from me. That is what you are arguing for.
We're not talking.
Change the Constitution. Get the out of my community. Get the out of our community. Get the out of our community. Get out of here. Stupid idiot.
Listen, the reality is when you just stick to the merits on this situation and don't get overly emotional about it. Was there fraud occurring in Minnesota? Has there been a large concentration of fraud occurring in the state of Minnesota? The answer is unequivocally a yes. Has that fraud come from one particular community in a significant amount, more than any other? If you were to have it up on a chart or a graph, who would take up a majority of the pie? The answer to that question is also a yes. And so ultimately, the emotion of it all, the back and forth as far as wanting to say that this has now become an issue of racism, is just frustration and not wanting to deal with the reality of what's really going on. And I always believe it's a very easy cop out to call somebody a racist when you don't like the things that they're saying or how they are presenting things that may not make you feel the best about how you see yourself. But we'll see what ends up coming from this, who is held accountable, whether it be the politicians who allowed this level of fraud, that these different branches of fraud to exist in the state of Minnesota. Will there be anyone of consequence who is actually held accountable? We'll wait and have to see about that. But drop your comments down below. Don't forget, smash that thumbs up. Let me know you love the video. Subscribe to the channel for more. And don't forget, share this video so that way more people see what's really going on. And as always, until next time.